So this is not how you make sparkling wine. Hi, my name is Konstantin Baum. I'm a master of wine, a retailer and a consultant, and this is my channel where we are thirsty for knowledge and wine. In today's episode of Wine in 10, I don't want to talk about a region or a grape variety. Instead, I want to focus on the marriage between CO2 and wine, sparkling wine. Sparkling wine is being produced all around the world in all different kinds of styles, different colors, at different alcoholic strengths, at different sweetness levels, and I want to shed some light onto this category. Even though sparkling wine is such a successful category today, the beginning wasn't as successful. CO2, the bubbles in wine, are a byproduct of fermentation, so they were always around in wine. But there was a period when CO2 was considered a fault or was even considered as dangerous because bottles used to explode under the pressure of the wine that was re-fermenting or fermenting in bottle. Interestingly, the English played an important role in making sparkling wine a commercial success. Their coal-fired ovens burned hotter and they were therefore able to produce stronger bottles that didn't break under the pressure of CO2 developing in bottle. They also reintroduced cork stoppers as a closure for wine, and this combination really helped the producers from Champagne to gain recognition. So let's talk about production methods. The main difference in sparkling wine production is that you're trying to trap the CO2 in the wine. The CO2 becomes an acid rather than a waste product, and this is why there's a distinction between sparkling wines and lightly sparkling wines. Sparkling wines have to have a pressure of at least 3.0 bar, and they are like Champagne, Cava and Cremant, considered to be more valuable and are sold at higher prices. Lightly sparkling wines have to have a pressure of between 1 and 2.5 bar, and they are in general less expensive. Just a small disclaimer, when I talk about production methods, I'm actually talking about production methods that are regulated in the European Union, which cover most of the main sparkling wine producing regions, but not all of them. So let's talk about semi-sparkling wines or lightly sparkling wines first. They're called Frizzante in Italy, Petillant in France and Perlwein in Germany, and they are mostly made using only one fermentation and are made in pressure tank in order to keep the CO2 in the wine. Some are fermented in bottle though, like those two Lambruscos for example, or the currently really popular pet nuts. But it's also possible to inject CO2 with those wines, kind of like using a soda stream. When it comes to sparkling wines, you in general have to use two different fermentations. You basically have a base wine first that was fermented and that is dry, and then the producer has two different options. They either ferment this base wine in bottle or they ferment this base wine again in tank. So if you do the fermentation and finishing of the wine in bottle, you follow the traditional method, which basically goes like this. You have a still base wine that you add yeast and sugar to, and then you fill that into bottle. The second fermentation occurs. When the second fermentation is over, you basically leave the wine on the lees or the yeast that died off after the fermentation. After a while, you riddle the wine so that the yeast falls into the top of the bottle or towards the opening of the bottle. And then you remove the yeast, you fill the wine with some additional wine and maybe some sugar, depending on which style you want to create. And then you close the wine with a cork and that's it. This method is used for Cava, Champagne, Winzer Sekt in Germany and Cremant for example. The option B is the tank method or Chamat method, which is named after the inventor of the pressure tank. In that case, you have your base wine, you add sugar and yeast to it, and then you just fill it into a pressure tank. The CO2 stays in the wine because it's in a pressure tank. And then you follow all of the other steps. You have the second fermentation, you clarify the wine, you remove the yeast, and then you bottle the wine under pressure. This is much cheaper as a method and you're able to produce wine much faster, sparkling wine much faster. And this method is used for Sekt, for example, Prosecco, most Lambruscos and Asti. There are also some in-between methods like the transversage and the transfer methods. Both of these methods allow the producer to separate the yeast from the wine in a pressure tank, which makes things a lot easier and a lot cheaper. So when we talk about sparkling wines, we also have to talk about the taste, the sweetness level of the wines. Pretty much all sparkling wines are fermented until dry, and sweetness is then added after the second fermentation has finished. The most important category for high-end sparkling wines is Brut, which is 0 to 12 grams of residual sugar. You can further break that up into Brut Zero, which is 0 to 3 grams of sugar, Extra Brut, which is 0 to 6 grams of sugar, and then Brut, which is up to 12 grams, like I said. Above that, you have the extra dry category, which is a bit of a weird name because it's less dry than Brut, but anyways. In that category, you have, for example, most Proseccos, and that's 12 to 17 grams of residual sugar. Above that, you have dry, which is 17 to 32 grams of residual sugar. And above that, you have semi-dry and sweet. Today, there's sparkling wine production pretty much all over the world, but Champagne is still looked at as the blueprint for sparkling wine production in the world. And the production methods from Champagne, as well as the grape varieties, are often copied. The main grape varieties in Champagne for sparkling wine are Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Pinot Meunier. And those grape varieties are also used in countries like the United States of America, Italy, or even Germany for producing great sparkling wines. If you want to learn more about Champagne, then please watch my video that I'll link up somewhere up there on the region of Champagne. But there are also other places that produce great sparkling wines. For example, Prosecco with the grape variety Glera produces very fresh and vibrant sparkling wines. In Germany, you have sparkling wines made of Riesling, which are very vibrant and aromatic and lively. And then you have obviously also cavas coming out of Spain that are made with the grape varieties Parellada, Xarello, and Macabeu that have a very distinct own style. And there are many more. So before finishing this off, I also want to talk about glasses. There are some misconceptions when it comes to glasses. Lots of people use those very small flutes that I don't like at all. I got 2 samples here. This one is a more flute-shaped glass, but it is a bit bigger, so it allows the sparkling wine to show a little bit more of its flavors. But I really like this glass, which is a tulip-shaped sparkling wine glass, which is quite big. And if you have a great sparkling wine, you should definitely use a bigger glass for really letting it shine and show all of its flavors. Before letting you go, I also want to show you how to open a sparkling wine bottle, and it so happens that I have one here, so let's do this. So first of all, you have to remove the capsule, which is quite easy because they have this little zipper there. So next thing is you have to open the agrafe, this little cage on top of the bottle. It just keeps the cork inside the bottle and makes it a lot safer to carry around a bottle of sparkling wine. Then the really important thing is that you don't turn the cork, you turn the bottle. So you move the bottom of the bottle like this. And in the end, you can feel how the cork slightly pops out of the bottle. It shouldn't make a big noise, especially if you're in a restaurant, but sometimes you just need to have it pop properly. So when you open the bottle, you have to tilt it slightly in order to make sure that the foam isn't too much and doesn't come out of the bottle. And then when you pour it into the glass, you should also tilt the glass a little bit in order for it to not lose too much CO2 during pouring. So as you can see here, a sparkling wine glass normally has a point in the middle of the glass that really allows the CO2 to free itself from the liquid and rise up so that you can see those beautiful bubbles. So thank you for watching. If you liked this video, then please like it down here, subscribe to my channel in order to make sure that you're not missing any of my upcoming videos. My question of the day is, which is your favorite sparkling or semi-sparkling wine? Please comment down below. I hope I see you guys again soon. Until then, stay thirsty.